Good morning. I hope you all got a restful night's sleep and welcome. Uh Character Rig. We're gonna finish this up today. I said there were a couple things that we were gonna do that were gonna just be super duper awesome today, and this is gonna be the last touch on our character rig. Everything in here should be working. Of course, we'll find a bug if there is any. But should be able to move this around. Oh, and I already forgot. I already see one thing that I've forgotten that I'll adjust in just a moment here. But we've got our character. We can sort of move them around. We've got inverse kinematics set up on our feet. These move here, and we can rotate our feet, which is awesome. Do our toes separately. And very importantly is we can do that like really fun rolling motion for our foot that is super awesome. Up here on our pelvis, we can shake our hips around, which is awesome. Our torso can move and turn and bend and do all of the stuff there. We've got controls for our neck and our head, and importantly, these controls we can turn on and off. So over in the land here, I can set this so that our head now kind of always is looking forward, regardless of what we're doing for the rest of our body. I realize one of the things that I missed that I do need to turn on is the fact that that should exist on the arms as well. And I also realized that I didn't, I think somewhere in here, let me go ahead and, yeah, these all belong now in the control section, since I only intend on using FK for the arms. I don't intend on using any inverse kinematics for the arms. Again, this is a very, very simple thing. So now if I take that, remove, assign, and hide all of that, now we should have the arms, which is great. The other thing I need to add in is a little, similar to what we did for the neck and the head here, is a transformation lock. So basically the arms don't have to follow along with the rotation of the body if we don't want them to. And otherwise, I think everything is pretty much set up. Oh, and then quick look at the hands. We've got this, which is a hand curve, so you can get that nice like oof, like fan shape on a hand. And then each finger here has its own controls for. Let me see if I can actually make this a little bit more conducive to looking at here. Let me do that and we turn off names. So now we can close each finger, and then we can also do the curl of each finger separately here, which is awesome. So few teeny tiny things left to fix that I realize have not been fixed here, which is, I think, just the inheritance of the arm rotation. And then I'm going to show you the super cool thing that is impossible to find on the internet and no one else knows how to do. And we're going to do that for our rig, and then this will be done. And we do not need to do it again, and that will be super awesome. So first, let's add in those bitty bobs for the transformation locks for the shoulders. So these are going to go right here is where I'm going to put them. And I think each one, no, I guess your shoulders have to follow along. It's your arms that don't have to follow along. So we'll put one right here for each of these guys. Um, so make sure I'm in edit mode. And I'll go ahead and pull this out. Make sure that it's facing upwards. And this will be, oh, and I need two of them, just like previously here. Boom. And then I'll grab another one and pull it out. Perfect. See? And just like before, it's this guy needs to be parented to this guy, which it is, correct. This guy now needs to be parented to this guy. And this follows this. We'll do a, did I do all three constraints on this? I just did copy location, copy rotation. We'll just do the same thing here. Copy location, copy rotation. I did that the wrong way. Little one first, big one second. Copy location, copy rotation. World space to world space is fine. And now, the last thing is that this needs to be parented to this guy over here, just like such. So now, if I turn off a lot of these things, Oh, and I need to make sure that I might have done something a little wonky in there. Deform shoulder. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is mechanism underscore arm lock dot L. And this is control underscore arm lock dot L. Perfect. And now if we go in and we turn off the deformation, we should be just left with this. We could use this to, did I do, oh, this needs for its rotation, it needs, here, under rotation to set that to add. So now we can add in rotation, and this does just like this, which is perfect. This and stuff and everything is doing well here. The last thing is to put this in the mechanisms category. Remove. And then hide those. Perfect. And then hide our targets. So now, perfect, we have our lock here. We have stuff. Everything is working as intended. So, hello! Welcome back, Stray. Thanks for popping in. Everything for our rig here is all set up. The last thing that I wanted to show off is a thing which is impossible to find on the internet, and is really, really useful and really cool. So this is our rig. Oh, I lied. There's one last thing to do before we call it actually done. Goodness. Save. Because I created this lock in order to mirror it over to the other side, what I need to do is we'll turn everything on, make sure that absolutely everything is good and squared away. And then I'm going to take everything on this side for the arms here, delete it, take everything over here, and then symmetrize it. So now we have an arm lock over on the other side as well. So I lied. There was one more thing we needed to do. Perfect. So now we have both of our arm locks, our head, and all this stuff like this. Everything is doing great and exactly as it should. Now is the thing that is impossible to find on the internet, which is custom shapes. So what custom shapes are is you can take any of these bones and you can give them some kind of shape that is more conducive to working with and is more sort of like gives you a better idea of what the bone does, rather than just these large sort of octahedral things, right? And that's what we want to do. Oh, something is not parented correctly here, and I'm pretty sure it's both of these need to be parented to this. There we go. So you move this around, perfect, move that around, and things and stuff. And then I can turn on and off the rotations for the arms, which is correct and how that ought to be. Yes. Now you can, woo, perfect. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're gonna do custom shapes. And the thing about custom shapes is that they frequently, I'll make a new collection up here, sort of in my thing. We'll call this custom shapes, specifically for custom shapes for the bones. And the thing is that normally when people do custom shapes, there's a very, very specific way they do them. Is that they say like, okay, so I've got this bone, or no, we'll use this as an example. So I want to replace this arm bone with something here, right? So what you'll see a lot of the time is we'll create a cube or something similar, right? And I'll scale it down a little bit. And I'll go into my skeleton here and I'll say, okay, I want to replace this with this custom cube that I just made a moment ago. So somewhere in here, custom shape, and I'm going to use my cube. And now I've got a cube for my arm. And it still works the same way. It still does all the same stuff. But now it looks like a cube instead of a bone, right? Which is awesome. This might be more clear if I used Suzanne. And in fact, let's actually use Suzanne just because it will be more clear. Let's add in a monkey scale. And get rid of Suzanne's eyes real quick. Or you know what? Just do median point. There we go. Scale. Now the issue, and you can kind of see it happening here in real time, is that if I take Suzanne in object mode and I move Suzanne around and I do anything to Suzanne, you'll see that the bone doesn't move or change any kind of position whatsoever. What happens instead is I would need to go into edit mode. And now if I change the relation of Suzanne in relation to its origin point, now the bone is actually physically moving up and down along its y-axis there. And if I do various things like I move it along its x-axis or I move it along its z-axis, it's all moving in relation to the bone. The issue with this is that let's say you wanted to make a relatively specific shape. Let's say you wanted to make like a footprint or for one of the feet, or maybe like a hand or something that resembles a finger, or just some kind of cage that is more indicative of the thing that it is you're controlling or the way it's supposed to be controlled. Disconnecting your brain in such a way to get the alignment of this shape just right to match what's going on up here with the bone would be really difficult to do. And it is really difficult to do. And so most people just flat out don't do it that way. Just because it's so difficult, just don't do it, right? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a way that you could create a one-to-one correlation between the bone that you're working on and its sort of transformations and what it looks like, and the custom shape that is being used to represent it? Well, there is. There is a way to make a one-to-one correlation between the two things, and for some reason, no one talks about it. You can't find it in tutorials. It is like just this thing that no one knows you can do. Oh, and someone asked a good question. Do these custom shapes show up on the final model, or is it just for readability? It is just for the animator. This is strictly for an animator to use. This doesn't appear in any final product. This is just for your sake as a person who's animating to be able to click on things easier and know what they do easier without a bunch of like descriptions and stuff all over the place that would make it otherwise very complicated. So let's show you how to make a custom shape for anything that is like on a one-to-one editing ratio, and it's really, really cool. So I'm going to do, let's say let's start with this bone. Let's start with this bone. So this bone is going to control my head. This is my rotation for my head. This is my, I don't even think I can edit the location. Yeah, this is all the rotation of my head. I don't have it set up currently in any way that the head can be detached. So just this is all of the rotation of my head, and I want to make it very clear that this is what rotates the head. And so what I would like to have is kind of a, I don't know, just a big shape that covers the head that makes it clear like that is sort of the skull rotation, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bone, and normally in Blender, right, is if I press 7 on my number pad, I will go into a top view, right? Super easy. Actually, you know what? I lied. Let's not do this for the head. Let's do it for the arm instead, because the arm is at a weird angle to everything, and it'll be much more clear what's going on. So I lied. I want to control my arm, and this is how I'm going to do so, right? So I've got this. It does perfect, great. Normally, if I press 7, I go into a top view, and it looks like this. Well, believe it or not, you can actually go into a top view for the local orientation for a specific object. So if I, instead of just pressing 7 on my numpad, instead I press Shift 7, I am now in the top view for my bone, right? Because it has its own set of axes that are all pointed and shifted in a different way because it's tilted, right? So by pressing Shift 7, I've gone into the top view for just my bone, right? And what I can do is if I click anywhere or right click, I will reposition my 3D cursor. And here is where stuff gets really, really, really cool is my 3D cursor normally whenever you, oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back into top view. So shift like this, and then I'm going to snap my cursor to my bone like such. But the important thing is that I went into the top view for the object first. And the reason why that's cool is because now by going into that top view first and then snapping my cursor second, my 3D cursor is actually oriented in the exact same way that my bone is oriented, right? This doesn't normally work this way. If I go into front view like this, right, and I have my cursor and I go snap cursor to selected, you can see that it does snap my cursor to the correct location, but these little like crosshairs, these black crosshairs are oriented in just the world view, right? They're not oriented any particular way. But if I go into the bones view, and then I do the exact same thing, cursor to selected, now my cursor has that strange sort of tilted orientation. And what I can do is I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to add, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to add a cube. And I'll scale the cube down just a bit so it's not so wildly large. What I'm going to do is go back into pose mode, and I'm going to select this bone, and I'm going to say, for your custom object, I want you to first use the cube we just created, right? And also, oh, I'm sorry, I've messed up. Sorry, going back to this cube, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to add in a cube. And when you first add in a cube, and I'm so sorry, I totally forgot because I am covering the thing. There's this menu right here. It's normally a little roll down when you add the cube. It's down right here at the very bottom. So here I've added in a cube. I can actually roll this up and it says, okay, what do you align this to? And I can align it to my 3D cursor. And that's what I meant to do. So this is like a critical step. This is one of the most important parts of the whole thing, is that when you create your object, you align your object to your 3D cursor, which remember we aligned to our bone. So now I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to scale it down. And then I'm going to go into the bone mode there, and I'm going to make sure that I've got scale to bone length, and I'm going to tick that off. And what you'll see now is if I go back into edit mode, or I go back into here and I do apply scale, it should be, and because I did a little bit of scaling beforehand, things are a little strange. Or no, this is scaling off the wrong cube. That's why. Because I didn't re-update. This is now cube 3. So yeah, you use cube 3. And what you'll see, and this is really, really cool, is that my cube here and my skeleton, let me unhide my armature here. So my cube and my skeleton now have perfect overlap. If I move it anywhere, if I do anything to this object, which I keep messing up because I'm just bad at this game. If I do anything to this object, that changes the shape of the bone exactly. Like I can hide the cube and it still looks exactly like that. So what that means is that I can take anything, any shape, and edit it however I want, and that will be what my arm looks like. So here I'm just I deleted all the vertices. I'm gonna go ahead and add in edit mode here. I'm gonna add in, maybe we'll do like a circle. I'll scale that down and I'll rotate it like this. We'll do a little bit lower here. And it doesn't need to be that many vertices. I'm sorry. Let me make a much less. We'll do 16. That's good. So we'll do 16 here, and I'll move this right where I want it to, and I can position this freely. I can do whatever I want to sort of make this guy be the way I want it to be. and pull it out a little bit, sort of like there's a bracelet around his arm or something like that. Um, and then finally go back into object mode, hide that cube, and now that's my bone. Like, just that is my bone. That's what it looks like. I don't have to do anything else. It's still got normals. I could get rid of those faces. It doesn't really matter, but this is what my bone looks like. And I edited those vertices just like you would if you were modeling, if you were polymodeling something. Like when we polymodeled this person, all of the tools I used to create that, I can now use to create my bone shape, and I don't have to worry about any conversions. I don't have to worry about anything. That just is how it looks. Let's grab this real quick and make sure that the normals are facing correctly here, so that things look just a little bit nicer. Boom, boom. Flip them out like that. And I don't know that I'll stick with sort of a bracelet here, but for now, that works fine. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to essentially make these edits for everything. I believe, if I recall, and I haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to duplicate this to cube 4, and then I'm going to simply scale cube 4 -1 across its x-axis. And now if I go into the opposing bone over here, I should be able to just do cube 4, turn off scale to bone length, and now we have this on the other side as well. Or maybe I didn't even need to scale it. Let's just figure it out here. Scale x -1. Yeah, maybe not. Or conversely, tell you what if I just use the same bone? No, there's a bit of a mismatch going on. So I might need to make a unique shape for each side. I don't actually know. I haven't done this in a while. In theory, there should be a way that you can sort of mirror them over. But regardless, yeah, you can make custom shapes and have them align to your mesh however you want. So that's what we're going to be doing for this evening here. Is just sort of chillaxing, getting that done, and then calling it a day for our model, which is awesome. And we don't need to make a tremendous number of custom shapes. Most of these are going to be relatively simple here. But I'm going to go through that process now. So how's everyone doing? Nope. Selected. Object mode. And then we'll add in a new cube. 3D cursor, align to 3D cursor. And then we can take this guy, get rid of all of those. I'll make a big circle here. I always like my root bone to be a large sort of series of concentric rings. And then specifically take this first one, we'll grab it a little bit like this, and then my second one here and pull it way out so that we have a forward orientation for everything. And now I should be able to go into armature, select my root bone, and just custom object like that. And it fits in perfectly and nicely. That's super awesome. I might consider, you know what? Let's do this from the ground up so that I don't have any weird overlap. I'm going to rename these after each bone as well. Back into object mode. We don't need this, but we're going to be getting rid of it. This is our root, so we'll just call it actually shape underscore root. That works fine. And we'll just move along and do that bit by bit here. So back into pose mode. Cursor to selected. We'll add in a new object here. This is going to be the roll control No, I'm sorry. This is the foot control. So this is another really good example of a place for doing this. Is here I'm going to add in an object. I'm going to make sure that it is oriented to my 3D cursor, and I'm going to make a sort of foot pattern. So we'll just use single vertices here. Whoops. No, I messed it up, but the object's already been placed, so it shouldn't matter. Oh my goodness. So we'll make sort of a foot pattern here. At last. Also, let me turn off this gizmo because it is distracting me. Perfect. I've mentioned before, I really like that like sort of footprint shape. So here we've got sort of that classic shape going on. So now all I need to do is go into here and say, okay, the custom shape I want you to use is this guy. And do not scale to length or anything like that, and it just sort of snaps into place. So now our foot control for the rig is this guy right here, and it does rotate from the ankle. If I really wanted to, I might put in some sort of indication that that's where it's supposed to be rotating from, but yeah. And I will call this shape underscore foot dot L. And probably do Shift 7 here. Mode, add in a new object, align it to our 3D cursor. Go in, get rid of all these guys. And this is going to be the toe for our right foot. So I'll grab this and in edit mode, I'll make like a little arch over the top. My foot, like such. And then I'll bring it around like this, so it's like a 3D object. Like this. No real right or wrong answer, just things that I, as the animator, will sort of know and understand. In theory, you'd want to do this in such a way that whoever's using it will understand, but since I'm the one who's going to be using it, there you go. Oh, and I don't have any music on. I'm sorry. Give me like 2 seconds. We'll get that squared away here. Is it this button, I believe? Yeah. Gotta have the music. It might be really loud on my speakers. Perfect. Excellent. So this is sort of my toe control. And now I can go into here, custom shape, use this guy, and do not scale. Perfect. And now this is our toe control. Foot control. Perfect. And we'll have to do the same for the other side. Like I say, I wish there might be a way. These feet and toes would be a really good way to see if there's a way to transfer it over. Shape underscore toes dot L. And then for this, let's see, what do we make here? Shift 7. Do that. Cursor to selected. And then in object mode, we'll add an object aligned to our 3D cursor. And we'll make this a some kind of. I could make just an arrow. I could make just an arrow and say like this is how it's supposed to rotate. Let's do that. Let's do that. We'll do doof, something like that. So here we have a nice nifty little arrow. And then what we're going to do is sort of rotate this around in like kind of a 45-degree pattern, like such. Or I guess a 90-degree. A little janky. And then we'll call that our custom shape. Like I say, I've said this several times now, but I don't super want this to be like the craziest detailed thing I've ever done before. So we're doing it in such a way that it's like little quick and a little janky. Not the most smooth controls to ever exist, but it'll work. Go in here, give this a custom shape, use this object, and do not scale it, and boom, pops right in. So now I can click this and be like, okay, yeah, this is how this is supposed to move. It rotates around here, which is awesome. This, I could have given this a rotation as well, but no need to. And then this over here will give a pull target, and then we'll see if there's a way that we can sort of swap all of these over. Cube, aligned to 3D cursor. And this one will be real simple. Because it's supposed to be an IK target, I'm literally going to make a target. Which I think... we'll do this. Yeah. Perfect. Custom shape, use this guy. Do not scale it. Perfect. Now we've got a pull target. So that's everything for our left side. Let's see if there's a way that we can sort of like mirror these over so everything is doing exactly as it needs to. So in theory here, if I go into pose mode, we'll select this, and I want you to use, oh no, I want you to use this custom shape. Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's go. Let's a bit eager to figure this out. All right. So this is shape underscore leg IK target dot or leg IK pull dot L, and then this one is shape underscore foot roll dot L. If I take foot roll dot L and I no, sorry, not that one. I want to use just foot. If I take this and I duplicate it, let me take everything inside. Scale X -1. That should just invert it. That should be fine. I can move it kind of anywhere here. And then in this, I should be able to take this and just use that and don't scale it. And it's misaligned, and I don't fully know why. Or, you know, I bet I can figure it out, though. Rather than... It's because it's scaling off of its median point. That's why. I figured it out. Let me just delete this shape entirely here. Grab this. Grab this. Duplicate it. We'll move it over here. and it's in edit mode with its rotation point being the, I guess I would need to do a whole bunch of extra stuff. Cursor to selected, edit mode, and then pivoting around the 3D cursor like that. And that should do it just fine. Boom. Custom object, use this, and don't scale it. And that should be aligned perfectly. Yeah. Okay. So without going too far into what was going on, is that there's a slight offset, and it's because all of these custom shapes work off of the origin point of each custom shape. So when I was flipping it along its x-axis originally, the thing that was happening was I was flipping the vertices with its sort of median point being considered the average of all those vertices, rather than wherever the origin of that particular object is. So the good news is that, oh, you know, I never actually looked at any of these things. I'm going to try one last thing. Get rid of this foot entirely for just a moment here. And on this bone, we're going to get rid of this custom shape and use the original custom shape, but just scale its x to -1. Does that work? It does not seem to. In fact, I'm not even sure if any of these are doing anything. No, custom object's not. No, custom object is the foot. There we go. Oh, of course, now everything's doing stuff. The scale 1, translation 0, scale x -1. Oh yeah, let's just do that. That works great. I didn't even know. I never knew that was a thing. So I can take this, select foot or toes.l, scale x -1, and don't scale to length. And that should be doing pretty much perfectly. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Custom object, foot roll, scale to -1, and don't scale to length. Oh yeah, this is way easier. Pull, -1, don't scale to length. Perfect. All right, making progress. This here is going to be a custom shape for the kind of whole character. So I'm probably going to make this one large. I like to do kind of a, well, it is for primarily the upper body there. So I might actually make this kind of an almost backpack shape. I forgot to mention that part of the reason why all of this is super cool is the fact that when you are modeling, you literally have all of your tools at your disposal, meaning that you can actually even use modifiers on the mesh of your object to create these things. And this would be a fantastic point to show this off, right? So I'm going to get rid of all of these, and I'm going to give this 2 modifiers, as I'm going to give it a mirror modifier, and I'm going to give it a... I don't even think I need... No, we'll use a... what is it called? Deform shrink wrap modifier. And the thing it's shrink wrapping to is the body mesh. So if I hide for just a moment the armature and I start making this custom shape, right? What I should be able to do is like click, gotta turn on snapping such here, almost as if I was retopologizing something. Let's project onto face. So now if I click this, it doesn't look quite like it's doing what I want it to. On surface offset is 0.1. Oh, I never turned snapping on, that's why. Okay, cool. So yeah, so like I said, I want this to be a sort of an almost backpack kind of shape. And I can do rather 0.1, 0.5. We'll just do 0.5, 0.1. That's fine. Perfect. So yeah, so let's make this backpack shape. Do something like this. I don't know that that's doing anything I want it to be doing. Turn on clipping. Maybe I'll do it afterwards. Then come up and over here, like such, and sort of round off our backpack. So in object mode, I'll apply that, and then back here in edit mode, let me see if I can get this shrink wrap working. It should be on the surface of this, and then offset. It's not working for everything, and I don't fully know why, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. Instead, I'm just going to take the whole thing, kind of scale it up off the median point, and move it back just a little bit like such. So now this is going to be our control the full body shape. And that should be good. So turn the armature back on. Do this, and give the bone a custom shape, which is this guy here, and then do not scale it. And now this controls sort of our whole character, which is awesome. Or, you know, I realize that might conflict specifically with the chest control, just in terms of, like, visual understanding. I lied. Let's not use that shape. That shape would be, I'm getting too complicated with it. That's the thing I do literally all the time. We'll use a shape like that, but it'll be for controlling this instead, I think. It's probably the way to do that. Align to 3D cursor, edit mode, and we will still do the mirror modifier with clipping. So this is what is supposed to control the chest. Oh, you know, I know what shape. We'll do something that kind of mimics the shape of the rib cage. Yeah. So this sort of ring is supposed to be smooth it out a little bit. All right. Yeah, so I lied. This is going to be our custom shape instead for the, we'll do shape underscore chest. Use custom shape. Custom shape is the chest. Do not scale it. And now this is going to be sort of our chest size. I'm going to go back in though and take this whole thing, apply that modifier. Make it a little bit bigger so it's not stuck and adhered sort of on the character. And we'll do like a similar shape for the hips. That makes sense to my brain there. Now, interestingly, right, one of the things I can see from this is that the orientation of my controller is different than the orientation of what would have been the bone. And that's fine. But this is part of the reason why custom shapes get so ridiculous, is because of the orientation of this bone. Everything would need to be flipped, and just trying to do that when the two things are divorced in some way is nightmarish. So here, perfect. And then back in object mode, we'll add in monkey. this time because it doesn't really matter. Align that to our 3D cursor, go into edit mode, and then get rid of everything and just do all of the same stuff. So mirror modifier, turn on clipping, and we'll create a kind of set of underwear for our character here. Smooth these out a little bit. Quick apply that, and then scale it all up just a tinge. Oh, turn off snapping there. Scale it all up just a tinge. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Go back in, select this guy, give him a custom shape. And do not scale it. Perfect. So now we can rotate this. That sort of controls everything we got going on over here. Rotate this. This controls our hips. And I'll think of something to do for the main character there. But now we've got our foot roll. We've got our foot. We've got our toes. We've got our full character. The pull target for the inverse kinematics. That's awesome. Hips and such like that. The shoulder, I think I do want that to be, I've seen it get done as like a wing, kind of to represent like your scapula, and I really, really like that. So we'll do that one next. Boom. Cursor to selected. Add in, oh, I don't think I named the last one. I don't think I named either of the last ones. No, I did. This is shape underscore hips. And technically these don't need the .l now that we know that we can sort of flip things over. Because everything on the left side, or everything on the right side is using just the same one as the left, but flipped. So that is super fantastic. Anywho. Add in a cube, make sure that that cube is aligned to our 3D cursor. Do this, and this one does not need a mirror because it's just taking place on one side, so it won't be connecting in the middle. Perfect. Nice smooth shape throughout this whole area here. Perfect. Same thing as always, I'll take the whole thing and I will scale it up and move it out just a bit here so it's a bit easier to see and reach. And I am so glad that we figured out how to do that on just mirror it there, as we'll take that, turn off its scaling. And then over here, we'll do the exact same thing, turn off its scaling, and then flip it by -1. I can see that they're sort of meeting in the middle there, which I was a bit afraid of, but I can just go back into my custom shape, and I should be able to simply just edit that, which is another nice thing about this whole process and doing it this way. Is that if you're like, oh no, I've made some kind of mistake here. If you spent hours getting it just right the first time, and then suddenly it still doesn't work, it can take even more hours to get it to work the second time. So perfect. Shape underscore shoulder. Alrighty. Next, we'll do the controls for the neck and the head. This guy, boom, cursor to selected. Then back in object mode, we'll add in whatever we want. And this is the one that I want to be kind of like a skull cap or a hat or something like that. We could give him a hat. We could literally model a hat, which I think would be hilariously dumb and kind of funny. Nah, we won't do that. Let's just give him a, just a ring, I think. But a skull-shaped ring. Go back and give him a mirror modifier here. Turn clipping on. Oops. Perfect. And then give this guy right here. And turn off scaling. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's a slow process. It's a slow, boring process. But bone by bone, we're turning it into something really, really nice and good looking. Despite the fact that it's fairly simple here. Boom. Cursor to select it. Add in some kind of custom shape. Perfect. And this, I do think, just a ring around the neck will be fine. I didn't actually need to delete or not use that first one, so we'll do that, and this will be just, that works fine. I could stand to be less fancy for everything that I do. Custom object, use this guy here, do not scale it. We'll call this shape underscore neck. So now if I go in and start clicking some of these things here, I can do this and rotate it. I can do this and rotate it. And I can turn off the rotations for all the various parts as well. So we'll do the hand, we'll finish that up, and then our rig is set. Which is awesome. What do I do? I think I know exactly what I want to do for the, I know what I want to do for the main control here. We'll grab this, same thing as always, cursor to selected. I will add in specifically an icosphere, aligned to the 3D cursor. And go into edit mode, and then I'm trying to think what the best way to go about doing this is. Whoops. Just get rid of those vertices. Does that do what I wanted it to? It does. Fantastic. Get rid of those oh. Get rid of just those vertices. Oh, shoot. Oh my goodness. Okay, I know how to do this. What I'm trying to make is just a ball like such. There we go. My goodness. Needlessly complicated. Always, all the time. And this will be the main control for, like, the whole character. Grab this guy, grab that guy, and do not scale. No, yeah, do not scale it. Perfect. Right, because I had done it earlier. That makes sense. Sphere, shape, underscore, torso. Perfect. Oh my goodness, my neck. These I'll probably give little gear icons, because even though I can control the arm with them, I don't necessarily want to. These do not quite serve the same purpose. Or conversely, no. Yeah. Just figuring out stuff as I go along here. For each of the fingers, we could give probably just one kind of control to one of these and then make it very simple so that all of them make sense, I guess, for lack of it. That doesn't make sense. But it will once you see what I'm doing here. Circle. We'll align that to our 3D cursor as always. Scale it way down. Let me go back. Then go back into this circle that we just made. Perfect. There are nicer ways I could go about making this circle, but hey. Perfect. And then I'll do one more in the middle of it, just like that, and bring it in slightly for a little bit of variance in shape. So that will be the control for the finger specifically. So I can take that and I can do this circle. Turn off scaling here, and now this is what controls the finger as a whole. And then I can have another little one that can control the bend specifically. Sorry, I need to go in, losing track of what it is I need to be doing here. Boom, we'll do that. Object mode, add in a new object called a cube. Make sure that that is aligned to our 3D cursor. Edit mode, get rid of everything. And I think I want this to be basically at another angle. So what I'm going to do is, by the way, so you can press Shift 7 to go into top view for the object that you're looking at. But just how you have also front view and side view, you can go into front view and side view by holding Shift for your object. So here I'm in the side view of the object very specifically. So going back, I can now take this and I can make my fancy little shape, which we'll take this, we'll go just like that. Merge at center. Whoops. Delete edge. E, scale, E. E. Perfect. Oh, except that I want all of this to be... Oh, goodness, I shouldn't have gone out of edit mode. Something like that. And just a little curled. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, it should be that I can, if I'm understanding how everything works, it should be that I can do this the same way for each of the other fingers. So let's get back into, like, sort of a normal orientation. So this controls the finger as a whole, and then this controls the roll of the finger. That's almost deeply upsetting that it can do that. Perfect. Now, each of these should be able to, the circle is, go into object mode. We'll say this shape underscore finger. We'll call this shape underscore curl. Let's see if we can do all of that for essentially all of the other ones. So here, let's do finger. Turn off scaling. Perfect. This is going to work out perfectly. Yeah, the thumb thing, but worst. We were messing around and we're doing something super awful to the thumb the other day. Boom, boom. And then each of these can do curl, which I've already lost track of where it went. Oh, I didn't spell it correctly. That's why. Perfect. So this is using the curl, do not scale it. This is using the curl, do not scale it. And then we just need to do the same thing in theory for all of the fingers on the other side. But to be honest, as I'm thinking about it, technically speaking, I was thinking I would need to type in -1 for all of them, but I don't think I do. Because if I just do this, given its shape and sort of orientation, it should just... I mean, I guess that moves it slightly. I'll probably do it for consistency's sake, but it's not required. If I ever change it, it would be a good practice to have it be that way. Grab this, do finger. I worry a lot too, because I frequently am like, oh no, this is an extremely boring part of this process. I should have done this like off camera ahead of time. But at the same time, there's also like an element of just like, it's really exciting when game development is like about stuff exploding and you get to do like these crazy, oh man, I just introduced this new thing and look how cool it is. But that's not the majority of it. That's only a small part of it. A lot of it is glorified data entry. So sometimes I worry about like saving this for stream, but this is what it do be like a lot of the time. There is, let me see if I can make this shape with any degree of ease. Making a gear icon is surprisingly... Making a good gear icon, I should say, is surprisingly difficult. Let me give it a try real quick. Boom, boom. Go to object mode. We'll add in a cube. Align it to our 3D cursor. Go into edit mode. Alright, let's see if we can make a gear relatively quickly. What I'm going to do is take this down to... or take this up to 18. So we've got like... or no, I guess 16 works. Boom, 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 boom. E scale. And then I should be able to... yeah, perfect. well, so the to answer your question, the thing about this particular gear icon is that the spokes of it are not scaled weird, right? Also, hold on. Yeah. So yeah, here's our gear icon. Yeah, so one of the things that frequently goes wrong when you are making a gear icon is that the spokes flare out at the ends, which is not how a gear actually works. If you did it that way, you would have like the worst gear in existence. So making a gear icon where that is not the case is kind of cool, but not common. So this will be our gear here. Boom, 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 boom. Custom shape. And do not scale. And we can do the same thing right over here. Cube, do not scale. And those can spend most of the time hidden anyway. So I think all we have left is the controls for the thumb, the arm, and then this, which is the curl of the hand as a whole. So the thing that makes that sort of classic Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo hand shape that looks great. Imagine building a machine with gears that have rounded corners. I'm sure someone has, for like no reason other than just they have. This I think I'm gonna make as kind of like just a little cup that goes around, or like a little like clasp thing that goes around this shape. I think I'm gonna make it very fancy. And you know what I could do? I could do that, and that might make my process a lot easier. Add. Oh, did I rename the last one? What was this? Shape underscore shoulder. No, sorry. Arm lock. There we go. Add in UV sphere. Oh, I screwed it up. Add in that. Align to 3D cursor. Edit mode. Delete everything, and then what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll go perfect click, 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 click. And then what I'll do is a little fancy and strange, but I'll go back into this in order to look at it in side view. Alternate side view. There we go. Perfect. And then from the circle is I'll grab all of this, scale it down, pull it out, and then just delete all of the edges in the middle. Yeah, so this is the sort of shape. Perfect. Someone was asking about the music going on in the background. This is a bunch of remixed songs from video games, just done by fans. Part of the reason why I'm using it is because it's all DRM free, which is awesome. But this music in particular is I believe it's a medley from the entirety of the Atelier series. So this is a like Atelier rock medley. So it's probably a bunch of stuff, but it's probably one of my also favorite songs that I've downloaded because it's just very bright and happy and has like a lot of funky stuff going on. Oh, I didn't rename the last one. Shape underscore hand curve. Almost there. Almost there. Working on it. Right. Circle, align to 3D cursor, edit the shape, And we'll edit this to be... I'll do a snapping thing again. I'll make it kind of like a plate on the top of the arm. Perfect. And that works fine for me. Oh, no. No, it doesn't. I lied. I lied to you. I lied to you, and I lied to myself. There we go. And we'll do something very, very similar for the forearm, except it'll be, like, rotated 90 degrees, so it's on a different axis. My Blender model is just, yes, he's naked, but he's mostly, naked. He's just sort of a stand-in man. He's not really anything in particular. He just sort of exists. So, he was born that way, you know? No shaming here. We don't shame others. So yeah, and then I'll have this one probably rotated towards the outside because it'll just do work. Yeah. Yep. Dude, it's either cold in Blender. It's certainly not warm. It's certainly not hot. No one is like, wow, it's steamy in the Blender world. It's either cold or it's distinctly neutral, right? Like, just like pleasant room temperature all across the board. No, like, feeling whatsoever. It just doesn't feel like anything. But I'm inclined to think it feels cold. Not very cold, just a little cold. And then we'll do this down the bone that sort of runs through the length of your arm, that your, not your radius, your ulna. Oops, wrong one. There we go. This circle, I guess, was shape underscore arm proximal, and then this will be shape underscore arm distal. And let me go back into the distal one, edit it a bit here. So yeah, the overwhelming lesson for today is Blender Man. Hi, I'm Blender Man. There's a comedian I used to listen to a lot named Stephen Lynch, and one of his most popular songs was always Superhero. And he had the audience yell out random superheroes, and they were terrible because it was done by drunk adults. Alright, and then this uses arm distal, do not scale, and is rotated -1. So yeah, by the end of it, and I could do custom colors and stuff, again, it's not stuff that I want to do. That's sort of an interesting question, and I'm super excited to answer that question, because oh my goodness. All right, so the question is, where did I learn modeling? I usually do box modeling, and I noticed on a previous video that you were not box modeling. Just curious where you picked up this process. Um, Today is kind of a slow day, as I've just been making these shapes. And so fielding any questions like this is basically what today is for. I will finish the thumb in like 2 seconds, but I want to answer that question. So, let's just hide all of this real quick because that is a very good question. And we'll do cursor to world origin. So box modeling, for anybody who doesn't know, and I appreciate you asking, by the way. Box modeling, for anyone who doesn't know, is like saying, okay, so I've got a box, hence where the term comes from, and I need to start creating a human, right? So I'll start doing a couple things, right? As I'll add in a central dividing line here, and I'll put on a mirror modifier so that we don't have to box model more than we have to. Makes sense, right? So now this is what I'm working with. And I'll start making maybe like a torso. So make sure that ghosty mode is turned on. So I'll start making like a torso, and I'll make a kind of a torso shape, something like this, right? And then I realize, okay, well now I need in more detail, right? So because I need more detail, I'm going to add in another loop around it here. Go through, make adjustments, do all the stuff, and say, okay, all of this is working out great, but now I need even more detail, so I'll add in another little loop here, or whatever, right? And you start adding in these loops bit by bit, and just sculpting the thing out of a box. One of the great parts of doing it that way is that because you started with a shape that was useful to begin with, right? Boxes have good topology. Because you started with that, whatever you're making now also has good topology. It's also, you're doing a good job because you started with something that was solid to begin with. But after a long while, I realized a lot of parts of this process were just kind of unnecessary time sinks, right? Because then later, eventually, I have to start like going through and correcting things that weren't correct from starting from a box, right? And I eventually just stopped using a box altogether. At some point, as I was modeling, I was just like, I don't need to start with a box. And I literally will go in, I'll make an object from nothing, delete everything in it because I don't care, and then start with one vertex, and then just start pulling things out, right? And then with a good knowledge of topology to begin with, right, I can start making really complex shapes. And I don't, it's under my control the entire time. I'm never fighting anything that I started with. I just like, cool, I need this, I'll just pull it out of thin air because I can. And I think a lot of that isn't like something that I learned. No one said, do it this way because it's more efficient. It was something where I was just got really, really flustered with how much I had to fight starting things, and was like, I want to do it this way. And what's cool about doing it this way, what's cool about just making your shapes kind of off in the middle of nowhere and then joining them together as you need, right, is that you can make sometimes really complex geometry ahead of time because you know that you'll need it, and then just sort of plaster that wherever it's supposed to go. So a really, really great example is like, I'll make this shape a lot, right? Is I'll go here, I'll make a vertex. This is a shape I make all the time off before I make a model because I just need it to be a certain way, right? So we'll grab these, face, whoops. Oh my goodness. Face, right? So this is a very specific shape, and this has a very, very specific role in topology, which is that we have one set of faces that curve this way, one set of faces that curve this way, and one set of faces that curve this way, right? So this is for rounding off corners. If I then pull this out, and then I can pull these junctions out as well, I now have a rounded corner to something, and I can kind of make whatever object it is that I need to make ahead of time. So let's say I needed to have, and thank you for asking questions. I should just have a stream where I just answer Blender questions, really. That's not a bad idea. So here I'll have this, and let's say I need to kind of make the rounded outline of like a shoulder or something. Well, I'll know I'll need to have this sort of on the other side, like such, right? And then I know underneath, I kind of need to have rounded off maybe bits underneath. So I'll go in and I'll flip this all around here, such like this. Boop, 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 boop. Oh my goodness, I don't know my angles. And now, whatever this shape is, or needs to be, I know that I have good topology for it, right? Because I've set up all of the like major landmarks of topology beforehand, so there's just no chance that really anything is going to go super duper wrong, and that's super duper awesome. So taking this for example, right? Let's say, let me just connect all of this, right? So I've laid out the major poles that I'm going to need, and I know that it's going to do whatever it does. So let me go ahead and connect all of the dots in the middle. So I'll connect from here to here. I'll connect from here to here. I know that this needs to continue down and around, so I'll connect like that. And over here, I'll connect like that. These connect along here. Because I've laid out everything ahead of time, I know that I have like a nice consistent edge loop that goes kind of bonkers. What did I do wrong? Oh, I see what I did wrong. If I joined it up correctly, then this would be an impressive example. Let's just get rid of that face and get rid of that face. These 2 points are supposed to be together. There we go. So now I have an edge loop that goes all the way around. I have whatever I was needing or trying to do over here, what have you. Yeah, doing a live Q&A stream for Blender, or Unreal for that matter, just anything, is probably not a bad idea. So the next question was, okay, well then using this process, do you ever encounter problems with normals? And the answer is yes, all the time. This is absolutely the greatest way to like screw up all of your normals ahead of time. However, what's also cool about this and screwing up one's normals is that if you go back to some of the earlier like really long streams I was doing, there are sirens outside my window all of the time, and I know that you can't hear them on the microphone, but they are crazy distracting and it drives me insane. Normals, if you go back to some of the long streams I was doing, it's so hard to think with those on. If you go back to some of the long streams I was doing, I play with normals a lot. I play with normals a lot more than maybe the average person can or should. And the cool part is that if you work with things enough, you start to learn how to like recover from mistakes. So let's say, for example, right, that I went through the process and let me just, there's several things I'm doing here. I know it doesn't really look like I'm doing anything, but I am doop. Dude, so it's fun to think that I live in like downtown New York or something, and like, I don't even know if downtown New York is bad. I don't know where bad places are in like other parts of the country. But it's fun to think I live in like an exciting place that's recognized for having a decent amount of crime. I don't. I live in a place called Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is, first of all, a state that most people don't even know is part of the country of America, right? The United States. Most people think that New Mexico is some other country. But I also don't even live in like the nice capital of this place. I live in arguably the biggest city, which has had so many problems in its rich and illustrious history. This is the weirdest city to live in. Oh my goodness, it's weird. But yeah, no, I live in a good part of town-ish, kind of, for whatever that means. I live next to the university. And man, there's been like shootings outside my house. It's crazy. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. There's a little bit of context for you. So the question was about normals. How do I know, do I ever encounter problems with normals? I can take one look at this right now and tell you that my normals have been screwed. The second I turn on, because when you turn on ghost mode, there should be a very, very consistent pattern to how everything looks. So by turning on ghost mode, I can see immediately here that everything has gone terribly awry, right? That my normals are super, super screwed. How do I fix this? All I'm going to do is I'm going to go back all the way out to object mode. I'm going to turn on shade smooth so that I can see exactly what it is that's going wrong. First thing I can see is that it looks like several of my normals in areas where there's like especially hard transitions, like in all along here, for example, that looks to be a place. Here looks like a place, or really all along here looks like stuff has gone super weird. So all I'm going to do is go in, do this, press Alt-N, and recalculate all my normals outside from Alt-N. Right? And this looks great. This is doing some stuff, except I can also tell that there's a few lighting things that still don't quite look right based on what this is supposed to look right. So the other thing I'll do is I'll take in everything and I'll press M and merge by distance. And that removed, I can see down here at the very, very, very bottom, 6 vertices. And now everything is looking exactly as it should. And really, just those 2 shortcuts will almost always fix all of your problems. Every time. It's insane, right? Like if I take this face and I extrude it and then get rid of it, I can see that I've got a face that's not doing quite what it needs to be doing. But if I look at it and my normals are correct, which is something you can turn on somewhere in here. If I do this and my normals look correct, the only other thing that could cause this, literally the only other thing that could cause this, is I've got too many vertices on top of each other. So merge by distance, I removed vertices, it's good. So for the process, like this goes back to a thing, right, where with box modeling, since you're starting from something, you generally don't encounter the problem of having normals not going the direction you need them to. Right? Because you're just starting with something that is good to begin with and you're pulling things out. And so because you don't encounter the problem of mismatched normals very often, it's real freaky to deal with. Was like, oh, what are the ways I deal with these problems? But when I got rid of that, and then I started encountering these problems a lot, I was like, oh, the solution for them is also just equally easy. Is this a good method for modeling? No, not any better than box modeling, but it does give you a lot more freedom and control over what you're doing. And as long as you can handle that control, it just feels a lot nicer. That's fair. That's fair. That's touche on that statement. But Cruces Cruces is another place. Las Cruces is another place in New Mexico. Isn't bad in part just because the density of people isn't like. Albuquerque is a huge city, and it's gotten worse. It has definitely gotten worse. It is not like, ask me even 10 years ago what it was like here, and it was a lot more fine than it is now. It's getting worse. Anyway, someone brought up the question about modeling with triangles versus modeling with quads. You can model with triangles kind of using this method. Like, it's not bad. It's not great. But it's not bad, right? Oh no. So here we just do this because you can do all of the same stuff, right? So here I have this, and then to pull out, I can just do kind of the same thing, trace the same patterns, and go. Like, there's not anything stopping me from modeling this way. The issue, though, is that a lot of the tools and systems innate to every 3D program cease to work, right? So if, for example, I wanted to take this and I was like, oh goodness, this is great, but I want to double the resolution of this. I want this to be I need to have twice as many polygons here as I currently have. The issue is that because I've been modeling with triangles, right, I don't have an easy way to do that. I don't have a way to like go in and cut this in half. I don't have a loop cut. None of that exists because I was using triangles. I could do something really, really like fancy, I guess, with my with the knife tool, but no. I'm very, very comfortable with this tool, and I don't want to go anywhere near that. That is a bad time. There's just not a way to like Nope. Wait, hold on. Nope. Yeah, no, there's just no way. Part of the reason why we model in quads is because then there are consistent and reliable ways for us to manipulate them. You should, in my opinion, a good model absolutely uses triangles, and they should be at places, but they should be placed intentionally, and if you know what their purpose is. In terms of just like doing a whole model out of triangles, it'd probably be a nightmare. Let's get rid of this and let's finish the last few joints on our little guy there. Which I think is just for the thumb. Perfect. And then that's it. And then that's a fully rigged, fully modeled character. We can animate him. This actually took, I apologize for today being kind of on the boring side. Please, you are more than welcome. If you ever have any questions about Blender, just throw them out there. Like, I'm doing stuff, but literally the whole reason why I'm showing you guys this process is so that people can talk about it and ask questions. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to show you this process. It's not like I'm sourcing help from you guys. Sometimes I can, and sometimes people offer like really, really good tidbits, but for the most part, like, I'm doing this so that you can see what it looks like. So if there's anything you don't understand or anything you're like, oh, whoa, how did he just do like those 60 things? Please ask about it. I am more than happy to divulge all of the secrets. Have I ever modeled a donut? For the purpose of enlightening everyone who's never touched Blender, if you Google or get on YouTube and look for Blender tutorials, the number one thing you're going to find is a series of tutorials by Blender Guru. And those tutorials are on how to model a donut. I don't know why a donut. I don't think Blender Guru knew why a donut. I don't I don't think anyone planned for those to become like the de facto tutorials on Blender. Like, I don't think that anyone assumed that those would be just what everyone used to learn Blender. And they're certainly not bad tutorials. They're quite good for what they do, but they are very basic. They are literally just the very, very bottom rung of how to use Blender. Here's the kicker to your question: have I ever modeled a donut? And the answer is no, I have never modeled a donut because I learned Blender before those tutorials existed. So I never had the luxury of learning how to model a donut. Now granted, when those tutorials did come out, by that point I could model a donut. I just have never had a need since then. But I'm sure, like, donuts are lovely. I love donuts. Dude, I love donuts. One of the unhealthiest points in my entire life was I lived across from a Krispy Kreme and a Walmart, and I would, like, for breakfast every day, and I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, I would go have an energy drink and a donut. And that's not healthy. In fact, one might call that unhealthy. I literally heard my girlfriend laugh in the other room, and I don't know if she's laughing at me, but I'm assuming she is. Oh yeah, no, I did. Oh my goodness. So I did. Someone said, so you learned to model with a right-click Blender. Select is currently left-click. That wasn't always true. Select used to be right-click in Blender, and what a time that was. What a time it was to select things with right-click in Blender. There was a bunch of stuff too. Like, I remember when we got this nice dark theme, right? And that was like the default. That wasn't always the case either. There was a time in Blender where the, like, color scheme was everything was this color. I think I can actually bring it back for you. Studio viewport. Everything in Blender was this color, right? But not just the background, like the menus and everything, and you were like, why is it that color? Make it a little bit darker. It's maybe a bit too dark, but no, it's too dark for me. What did I have it on? I should have paid attention. 0.2? Oh my goodness. 0.1? 0.075? Oh, that's why it's on theme. Ha! But yeah, no, Blender at one point in time was like just a deeply unattractive program to look at. Fun story about fun story about Blender in a nutshell is that with its origin is if I'm not mistaken, the history of Blender is that it started out as an in-house program and is a classic story in why. So it's, dude, it's weird. There is a thing where I'm a strong advocate for doing it yourself. Like, here, I made a model for myself, and then I made a rig for that model, and then I'm going to make animations for that model. Why not just download all that, right? Aside from the fact that I can't afford it, but if I could afford it, why not go do it that way, right? Because I would still generally disagree with that. For myself, for everyone else, you should go do so. But for this, I would generally disagree, right? But then I'm making everything in Unreal Engine. If I have such a process for myself of just do it yourself, why not make your own game engine? And the thing is that for as complex as all of this is, it pales in comparison to how complex it would be to build an engine, or in this case, build a 3D modeling program like Blender, right? Making Blender was hard, right? And so the story goes is that there was a company that made their own in-house software, which I would never recommend. You should not do it that way, but they did. And they made a tool that was optimized for speed. It had very few, if hardly any, menus of any kind. And in order to operate it, everything worked off of shortcuts. And those shortcuts were inspired by, like, literally PC gaming loadout, or the PC gaming layout, which is that you had one hand on your mouse at all times, and you had one hand on your keyboard at all times. And through a combined use of those two things, you could operate the entire program without ever having to click on a menu, without ever having to look down. If you just knew how the program worked, you could do everything. And they spent so much time and energy on that they went bankrupt, and the company was going to die. And with it, that software that they had made. But there was a guy who was like, hey, no, we put a lot of work and effort into the software. Can I buy it from you? In talking to the company that's dying, can I buy it from you and just personally own it? And they were like, no. And he's like, okay, well, what if we did it? Then they're like, I make some proposals, but we don't want to just sell it to you. And so after a bunch of different proposals, what they said is like, tell you what, I'm going to buy it for you for whatever amount of money it was. It's like, but I'm going to release it under the GNU General Public License, which means that after I buy it from you, it will be free for anyone to edit and modify forever. And that's how we got here today. And that's how Blender has existed today. Boom. But that's also where a lot of its design came from, right? Is that the reason why there were no menus is because you were supposed to do everything with keyboard shortcuts. Now we have menus for all of this stuff, but you shouldn't be operating Blender with shortcuts because you shouldn't be operating Blender with menus because then it's not cool anymore. It's not that it's not cool, right? It's that, like, it was designed for efficiency. As you see me going through all of these things that I'm doing, manipulating and stuff like that, this process would have taken like 12,000 days if every time I wanted to go into a view here, I was like, okay, cool, I've selected this. Let me go ahead and go into pose mode. Okay, and then I'm going to select this, and I'm going to go into view, and then I'm going to go into align view, and I'm going to align view to the top of this. And now that we've got that, I need to get my 3D cursor tool, and I need to orient this to here, but I need to turn on snapping so that I can... That would be horrible. That would be an absolute fucking nightmare to do, right? Instead, what we've got is me going like, oh yeah, cool. And coincidentally, these menus that pop up are only because I'm using a shortcut, right? Like they're radial shortcuts. I'm not using them because I'm like, oh, this is a required thing. It's because I just don't have, like, if I could get rid of that menu on screen, I would, because I don't need it. I know exactly where all of them lead to. And then we get here and then we do the stuff, right? Here, it turned on snapping. It's already there. I'm in edit mode. I can do whatever I want with this. I'm going to add in a circle. Scale that down, rotate it. No widgets. I don't have to do any widgets or anything like that. It just sort of works. So that was the heart through which Blender was originally crafted. And it's for that reason that if you are trying to learn Blender, I highly, highly, highly encourage, because in these menus you can see all of the keyboard shortcuts here. So I've got Alt-Shift-S, Shift-Control-Alt, Shift-W, GRS. I've got all of these shortcuts listed next to every single menu. Go through and learn that shit. Because when you do, the speed and ease with which you can model and perform all of the functions that you can and want to perform is, like, crazy high. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, this game definitely will get done, and it probably will get done soon. Not done, but like it will be at a point that it needs to be at soon. My timeline, in theory, is that what day are we? I don't even know where I am in the time-space continuum. It's Thursday? Oh, it's Wednesday? I mean, that's good. That's good. I thought it was Thursday, which meant a lot of stuff, but if it's Thursday, if it's Wednesday, that's not bad. So for probably by the end of this week, I imagine both characters will be rigged, both characters will be animated. There will be nothing else to do for that. We can send all of those over to Unreal Engine, and then life will be good. In Unreal Engine, it's just a question of implementing some of those animations, going back and forth, creating animations as we need them, and then getting literally either at the start of next week or the end of this week, things set up for Steam integration, right? And if I can get it in, the goal is that if I can get a test thing up on Steam, right, I will be in a position where, first of all, I don't have to have my patrons go anywhere to download anything. It's part of your Steam library. It exists. And every time I push an update, Steam handles that for you. You don't need to go download a new file, replace the old one, do the weird thing you currently have to do, which is navigate to a file, make sure all the dependencies are there. You can just click a thing on your Steam icon and it's there, and it will always be up to date. The goal is that by the end of next week, that will be the reality that we live in. That's the objective. And there still will not be like an engaging set of rules in the game by that point, but the playing field is set. All it is from there is just making the content, right? Is if it works and people can play online and with each other and connect to each other, and it all is done through Steam automatically, then everything after that is just making the game fun and awesome. There isn't any more like weird elementary level like shit I need to do. It just will work, and that'll be really exciting. I hope that process goes smoothly, and I hope it only takes me 1 week to figure out and not like 12 weeks. Where, oh my goodness, I have disorientated myself. Fine. Let me finish up this final bone shape real quick, otherwise I'm gonna go insane. Circle, align to 3D cursor, edit mode, scale. Do, 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 do. I'll call this shape underscore thumb proximal, and then this will be shape underscore thumb distal. And we can scroll down just a bit here, add those guys over here, the last one, thumb distal, -1, and don't scale it. And now, at the end of a long day's work, this is all of the controls for the rig. You can animate an entire character with just this thing. That's the dream. Let me quick hide all of these guys. But yeah, that's that. Let me call this rig underscore. You know what? I might actually call it Arma. Yeah, Arma underscore body, and then we'll call this what is this here? Data underscore Arma. Perfect. Heck yeah. So that's today's Wednesday. I might not stream tomorrow. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about not streaming tomorrow. In part because as I've been focused on this, I want to show these things. It is literally just now dawning on me because I've been so focused on this and also making those notes and stuff that I never actually rigged this idiot over here. Whoops. So, I might not stream tomorrow. I might rig this guy, get him set up, give him custom shapes and everything, and just get everything back on track. And then also knock out some basic animations, maybe just a basic walk and run and idle and stuff like that. And then just call it there for these guys. So I think that's what I'll do. No streaming tomorrow. Just work time. But let me see what I got here. Yeah, take notes. That was the whole reason why this whole process has taken like a couple days. Is I started off a stream on Monday talking about how important note taking was and how important like how if you're watching a tutorial or something like that, what you should do is watch the tutorial just to get an idea of what's going on, then go through and follow along and take notes for yourself on stuff that you know you need to understand, and then end that all by going through and trying to do it on your own, just using your notes without referencing a tutorial. Again, I feel bad because I actually felt really... I'm going to open up to you guys for a minute here, because there's only 3 of you in here. I felt real bad because I sat on 0 viewers for that particular stream for like a hot minute. And it sucked because for the first like 10 minutes that stream was going on, I apparently had a good thumbnail, I had a good title, everything was doing good, right? And I got like 15 people who came in, and then they all left. Ain't no one want to hear about why notes are important. Ain't no one want to hear about why, how to watch tutorials and why tutorials should be longer. No one was having it, so everyone left and it was just empty. Fast forward, right, to right now, and we're talking about just learning things. And I appreciate that you say that you have notes for yourself, right? The whole reason why this is taking amount of time is because I've been trying to stress the importance of that. And I know that in like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, something like that, everybody's gonna be like, yo, how did you make all this? Where did you learn to do all this? Like, how did you figure this stuff out? And it's like, by taking notes. You know, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. The question is, will you post the animating as a VOD? And because you're curious about that. I don't know what VOD stands for. I'm an old internet idiot. Tutorials being longer in this economy? Nah. Let me look up what a VOD stands for. What does VOD stand for? I'm showing my age. Video on demand is a generic term covering several areas. It includes all video content requested on demand by users. This could be premium movies or libraries of TV shows, sporting events, or concerts. Or, in this case, the creation process behind complex digital goods. I figured it was video on demand. I don't know. Yeah, no. If I do, maybe we won't stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll do, maybe I'll do. I tell you what. I know what I'll do. Because today's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, so on Friday, I'll get the rest of my rig set up here for the spirit character. We'll get all of that set up. We'll get everything set up so that on Friday it's just animation. And specifically, because I haven't been doing this enough, I really like to give sort of an educational, informative lean on all of this stuff, because that's what I enjoy. That's what I assume you guys enjoy. So on Friday, what we'll do is we'll go through both a process for animating and specifically applying that process to animating a walk cycle. So maybe I'll animate the spirit and what it's going to be doing, because it's not going to... A walk cycle for the spirit is not going to be complex. It's just going to be a little floating like... woo. And there won't be a lot of animations to start because I don't necessarily know what I'll need. So we'll start off with just I'll get everything set up, and then Friday will be like, this is how you animate in 3D, and this is how a 3D animation walk cycle would probably be done. Because I've seen a lot of tutorials for walk cycles for animating in 3D, and they're bad. They're bad. You shouldn't listen to them. Don't do them. It's not good. And I'll explain why on Friday. But yeah, that's what we'll do on Friday, and then tomorrow I'll get everything set up and I'll do some more work or prep work in Unreal Engine to get ready to receive all of this. That way, also when we get to Monday, everything will be good, hopefully to just send on over and get squared away. So that's the plan. No stream tomorrow. I need to catch up on a bunch of stuff, and then on Friday is we'll do a big, nice tutorial on a walk cycle and how everything works there. Yeah, I figured. And like, again, part of the problem is that I would love to do VODs. I would love to do a bunch of stuff as long as it doesn't require video editing. In part because if I do video editing, if I do something that is not live, I need to do things in order to make it more attractive, right? You just raw, unedited footage of me working and like either not talking or not showing more information, stuff like that, would just be very strange and dry. So there is some degree of editing that needs to happen. And it's been my history with editing that it stresses me out, like a lot. So maybe we'll figure something out. But I think for this evening here, as we're coming up on 2 hours right now, I will... Oh, thank you so much. I will call it there, and that'll be the plan. No stream tomorrow. Things on... oh, no. I know what I'll do outside of Unreal. I'll make this pretty. This thing, that over there, like way on the other side, I'll make all that pretty. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So no stream tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday, and we'll talk about animation and stuff. So with that said, thank you guys. You're in both places at the same time, I know. So thank you guys for tuning in here, and I will see you guys on Friday. So get some rest, and I will see you guys in the morning here, okay?